Hello again, I'm Stephen Wells, the host of the Motoring Weekly podcast for the Australian Historic Road and Racing community. This week I attended a track day with the Gear Club at Sydney Motorsports Park. Listen to episode 148 to find out more about the Gear Club. In the meantime, listen to this interview with one of the drivers. I'm with Graham Bates, who's got a 1970 Fiat A50 Sport Coupe, something that is in my heart because I'm running Arbath and Fiat and a few other things at the moment. And I grew up with a Fiat 850 Coupe, not one of these sport coupes, but one of the other rear drive ones. So Graham, how long have you had the car?
I bought it new in 1970.
Okay, and it's been a road car and then a track car?
Well, I bought it when I was a young single bloke, and I used to drive it interstate to South Australia on the west coast for 4 years or so. And then I got married and taught my wife to drive in it. And basically, when we had the kids come along, I had to get rid of it for a while, and I bought a Falcon and drove that around. But I bought it back about 32 years ago.
Right, so it's really a family heirloom, isn't it?
It is, and it sat in my shed for years and years and years, slowly rusting away.
Yeah.
And then they announced they were going to build the racetrack at Shoalhaven. And so I thought, I better go and do something about it. It had a lot of rust in it, typical Fiat, and built in 1970 when they had all the strikes, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And so I spent a lot of time welding steel into it. And of course the other panels are all fiberglass here. And basically all I did was take weight out of it, and because of soundproofing, etc., they weighed a lot on these. And I supercharged the engine, and I then eventually converted to fully EFI, and it runs a couple of injectors down that shoot down where the Weber used to be. And it's generally really, really good, but I've had a bit of problems with it the last 12 months. And it's always this circuit. And
there's something about that, I think, if you have a car and it works fine, and then you go somewhere, and every time you go somewhere, there's always a problem with it.
Well, it's only when you go to some places. It's this one here. Because last year, I just fitted an air-water intercooler and brought it out here, and it ran fine, but then it jagged in and I got towed home, which is very embarrassing because I had to get towed all the way through the pit area up the hill here. And this time I did the first session and I stopped in exactly the same place on the circuit, but this time it was because the battery wasn't charging. The alternator wasn't charging the battery, and the voltage got too low for the ECU and the injectors, and shut it down. So I'm back here now, but I still can't work out why the alternator's not charging.
Right.
Because I've had the small wires at the back of the alternator that just slip out. And I've got them lashed in now so they can't go out, but it's still not charging enough. And it just means that as soon as I drive around here, it just runs lean. And I've got it set up at the moment, tuning the fuel maps automatically. And it can't compensate properly because the voltage is incorrect. It's all around very simple things.
It's often the very simple things that do cock everything up, generally in life.
You can't find them when you're here, but I just happened to look at a data log and I thought, what the hell's the volt? Where's all the volts? I was running about 11.9, but it should be 13.4. And that's what that's critical, these things. But I've had it on the track for the last 9 years, and generally it's been really reliable.
And is it affected by heat at all on a day like this?
No, not really. The supercharger makes the inlet air temperature really, really hot. And on the other circuit, North Circuit, I'll get to 120 degrees C down the main straight, and that just kills horsepower. But with the intercooler, I could drive right here and it won't get above about 32.
Okay, wow.
And so it's dropping 60 odd degrees, and so that air is much more denser, and so you get more horsepower if everything else works.
I probably need one of those on my Fiats because I find that they do get a tad hot at times, and I've got a car that always overheats in Canberra, which is probably the coldest place to be.
Yeah, well, do you have the bottom panels in place in the back?
I do.
Okay, well that's normally what people take them away and then wonder why they can't keep cool.
Yeah.
But I have a radiator in the front.
Mm-hmm.
That's a Mini Cooper S radiator.
Yeah.
And I was down at Winton, and it was running too cold down the main straight because it was, and when it got down to below about 80 degrees, it kicked in the warm-up regulator, which added more fuel, and it run awful as well.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I just had to make some adjustments with the keyboard, but it was overcooling.
Right.
But I never have a problem with heating at all with the engine itself.
Yeah.
Just the air.
Yeah. And how often do you try and get it out on the track?
I do all the gears I can, gear rinse, and I do the Huntley Hill climb.
Okay.
And I go over to Pheasant Wood, which is about an hour and a half away from my place, and I do practice days over there and do all my tuning. Well, actually, I was there last week and it ran fine there. I just had a day in preparation for today, and then come here and just scratched yourself on the first session.
You can't pick it, can you, on some of these? But it's a gorgeous car. I love the fact that you've had it for so many years, and it's a family heirloom as such. But it looks nothing compared to what it probably looked like when you were running it as a road car.
No. And of course the seats sit down 50 mil lower, and the steering wheel's down lower 50 mil. But my wife can't get in it now, and we used to travel with wife and I and two big red setters in the back to South Australia. And you think about it and you think, well, gee, we must be dickheads, to do that, because that's about 1,700 miles. And
I think it's fabulous. Thank you for your time. It's a bit sad that it's having the problems. Hopefully you'll get them fixed up.
I'll get home and I'll find something very simple and stupid.
I'm sure you will. Thank you. It's been good to catch up and have a look at this car.
Thank
you.